Yeah, I always wanted to do something like this. Well, yup. This poll went exactly as how I thought it would. Of course everyone wants to know more about Albedo. I mean, she's such a diverse and complex character, especially being the creation of one of the most meticulous and detail-oriented people in the guild. So I couldn't possibly see any other reason why you wouldn't want to know more about her. Anyway, this is part 1 of 2 for what's essentially going to be Albedo's character profile, covering everything from her lore and build to her equipment and other little details that were skipped in the anime. Her sisters, excuse me. For this episode, I feel it's best if we start with more of her backstory, then next week we'll dive deep into her combat potential and general build. So, let's begin. Albedo was created by Tabula Smaragdina, an alchemist and magic caster who was known as a bit of a gimmick maker. Not only was he part of the original 9 founders of Ainz Ul Gon, back when it was known as Nine's own goal, he had a far more powerful magic casting build than Ainz. Unlike Ainz, who had built his character more for roleplay purposes, Tabula focused on destructive power. As I said, he was also an extremely meticulous and detail-oriented person, one who would spend his time filling Nazarick with minor strange and unusual mechanisms. For instance, the treasury was locked with an elaborate riddle that he had devised, and he had carefully constructed the door so that it would reveal hints to the riddle when one spoke the appropriate phrases in front of it. He was also apparently a bit of a fan of alchemy, both in real life and the game. Not only did he have some specialization in alchemy-related classes, but his name is actually Latin for the Emerald Tablet, an ancient artifact said to depict the secret of transmutation. As such, his 3 biggest passions were Gap Moe, something that I'll cover later, ancient occultic lore, including alchemy of course, and then horror films. But why am I telling you all this? This isn't his character profile. Well, you see, these 3 passions of his were manifested in the 3 NPCs that he had created, one of which was Albedo. Albedo is actually named after one of the 3 stages theorized by ancient alchemists to produce the Philosopher's Stone. For those that aren't familiar with this ancient artifact, the Philosopher's Stone is a legendary alchemical substance made out of the so-called primal material. It's something that allows for base metals like mercury to be turned into more valuable ones such as silver and gold. This is made possible through a series of chemical processes referred to as the magnum opus. The first stage is NIGREDO, meaning blackening, symbolizing putrefaction and decomposition. The second is Albedo, meaning whitening, symbolizing purification and division. The third and final stage is Rubedo, meaning reddening, symbolizing perfection and reunification. There was also something of a half stage between Albedo and Rubedo called Citrinitas, meaning yellowing, symbolizing transmutation and energization. So basically, what would happen is you'd break it down, split it into its purest components, transmute and re-energize it, then reassemble it. Now, knowing the origin of Albedo's name, we can see that it's meant to represent purification and whiteness, or rather, that was merely one aspect of her personality. Remember that Tabula loved Gap Moe, which means acting in a way that is completely contradictory to your usual self. So while on the surface she pretends to be this pure, smiling, dutiful wife, her true inner self is as black and as evil as they come. She was also originally written to be this huge slut, but I'm sure you recall how Ainz overwrote that and replaced it with what's her now never-ending love for him. Because of these changes that Ainz had made to her settings, she likes spending time making body pillows and figures of him. As a matter of fact, she has a giant collection of Ainz-shaped dolls in different positions and sizes in her bedroom that she forbids anyone from entering or cleaning. Now, with regards to her design, I was gonna share a more abridged version of how her flavor text was set by Tabula, but since she's one of the few characters whose full settings were actually given to us in one of the series' art books, I feel like it wouldn't be right to not share how she was designed to be in her entirety. So let's go through it. Albedo is a demoness who holds the title of Guardian Overseer, which is the highest ranking position in the Great Underground Tomb of Nazarick. With flowing raven hair and golden pupils, her beauty could bewitch a nation. She is proud of her position and confronts intruders as a confident, dignified, superior being. Regardless of how brilliant or brave her foes may be, or whether she even considers them strong, she will never acknowledge them as being equal to herself. This is because she understands the meaning of the position bestowed upon her. Her abilities befit the title of Guardian Overseer, with outstanding intelligence and combat ability. That said, she is not omnicompetent. For instance, in Pure Wits, Demiurgus is her superior, while Shaltir is superior in fighting ability. Yet, nobody in Nazarick can rival her administrative ability. In addition, her feminine skills, particularly those pertaining to being a housewife, are excellent, and during her free time, she can be sweeping, sewing, and so on. Though the reason is unknown, she does enjoy cleanliness, and her desire for such frequently drives her to clean things up. In particular, her ability to sort out bookshelves knows no peer. However, she recognizes the possessions of others as belonging to them, so she really insists on cleaning up. That being said, the items accumulated through her collector's habit are typically very messy. Therefore, it remains to be seen whether she actually likes being tidy. This might well be an act, in order to appear as the perfect woman, though the truth of that is unknown. It's too scary to confirm. She always has a gentle smile on her, and her elegant way of speech has made many people think she is a goddess or an angel. That mistake is not particularly laughable, given that she is surrounded by that sort of atmosphere and acts in an appropriate manner. The fact of the matter is, it would not be wrong to view her in that way. She was originally planned to be an angel of the highest order, but she ended up with a greatly distorted appearance after being fused with a monster from the land of dreams. Because of that, her personality is similarly twisted, being merciless and cruel, cunning and savage. She gives her enemies despair and revels in their agonizing death. Her usual expression seems to be there to suppress the urges which flow from her heart, a mask which exists to conceal her desires to perform ruthless acts upon the weak. If the masks should break, she would probably end up being like Empress Lu Ji or Empress Wu Zetian. However, that only applies when dealing with those not of Nazarick. Fortunately for those who do not serve Nazarick, one can take comfort in the fact that the mask is very sturdy and will not break easily. She feels very strongly about her duties as the guardian overseer of the great underground tomb of Nazarick. Naturally, the fact that she has heirs everywhere listening for information goes without saying. In addition, she smiles all the time, to the point where one might say she does not show any other emotion. Her smile, though, is nothing more than a poker face to her. She can also show emotions like anger, grimaces, and fake tears. Her sophisticated lady's face will not break, even when she is torturing the fools who oppose her. By her appearance alone, she is a perfect beauty. And the final line was, incidentally, she is a slut, but that was modified to now say that she is in love with Momonga. So that's quite the descriptor for a video game NPC. It just goes to show how dedicated Tabula was to his work. But that's not even all there is. As the Guardian Overseer of Nazarick, she is in charge of all the floor guardians and, by proxy, has a position of authority over every other NPC within it. Her talents most definitely befit her title. In fact, she's actually among the top 4 smartest people on the continent. Only Demiurgus, Princess Renner, and Pandora's actor can compare to her. Demiurgus is better than her in a battle of pure wits and military planning, but Albedo has the better administrative and management skills. Renner, on the other hand, would have been indisputably the smartest being in the continent by a landslide, if not for the sudden arrival of Nazarick. So ever since Nazarick was transported into the New World, Ainz has put her in charge of coordinating and running all domestic operations within Nazarick during his absence. This includes coordinating the transportation system between the floors, overseeing reports from various agents of Nazarick, overseeing the budget and resource expenditures, and so on and so forth. To be honest, it's sounding more like a general manager position at a major factory than a guardian overseer at a high-level guild base. But if that's what it takes to run something like that, then kudos to anyone who gets stuck managing a guild. Now, aside from being the guardian overseer, Albedo is also the guardian of the 9th and 10th floors of Nazarick. The 9th floor is the Royal Suite, which contains the bedrooms for each of the 41 guild members of Ainz Uogon, along with rooms for many of the NPCs and even guest rooms. It contains the round table, the conference room that guild members frequently met and conversed in, the bar managed by the sous chef, the staff canteen for the duty maids, a manicure salon that Shaltir visits occasionally, and finally, it contains Nazarick's spa resort, which had a total of 17 baths with 9 types for 2 genders. And yes, each bath type was in fact identified and described in the novel, but that'll be something I share for a video dedicated to the Tomb of Nazarick itself. The 10th floor is referred to as the Throne, which you already know houses the throne hall itself. You can also find on this floor the bedroom of the battle maids, a room called Clavicula Salomonis, and then Ashurbanipal, a great library housing many books, spell scrolls, mercenary contracts, and other book-shaped items, So as the 9th and 10th floor guardian, should there ever be an invasion, it's her job to act as pretty much the final boss for those areas. Now, the final thing that I wanted to talk about was going to be Albedo's sisters. I'm sure a lot of you are curious to know a bit more about what's thought to be Nazaric's strongest entity. I mean, considering that all prior scenes and mentions of the sisters have been cut from the anime, it wouldn't be surprising to me if you were an anime-only watcher and didn't even know what I was talking about right now. But instead of getting into their details, I'll save that for a shorter, separate mini-episode. But for now, as a little sneak peek, in case you didn't know, Albedo has 2 sisters, one younger and one older, both made by Tabula. The eldest, named NIGREDO, is Tabula's passion for the horror genre embodied into an NPC. And the youngest, Rubedo, was not created by the same means as any other NPC. She remains to be an enigma to everyone, but is considered to be the strongest being in Nazarick. And with that, you've heard pretty much everything important that can be said about Albedo that's non-combat or build related. Now before I go, I just want to thank Jinfor for helping me with the gathering of all this information. I definitely could not have got this video out as quickly as I did without his help. So if you ever see him on Reddit, just go ahead and thank him for me for all his hard work. Now, I'm just going to quickly plug my Discord where we talk about Overlord a lot and play some stupid games. Also, if you want to follow me on Twitter at @animesam_, that's pretty cool too. I don't really post often, but I guess having followers on there is pretty nice. And finally, if you want to check out my non-Overlord videos like my News or Fate ones, that'd be a great help too. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this type of anime content, then you already know what to do. So, until next time, ciao!